Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Josh. Welcome to the channel. We're going to be getting into some more Jujutsu Kaisen, some JJK. Hopefully seeing Yuji pop off some more, busting some helicopters and airplanes up. What kind of show is this? I don't know, man. We had our week off. Well, I guess it's been 2 weeks since we saw the last episode, so it's been a little bit. If I remember correctly, they're trying to find, I don't remember his name, I'm not going to try to say it, but one of the ancient sorcerers, one of the other ones with a lot of points, I think, to see if they can get them on their side to add a new rule, the point transfer rule, if you could like transfer to player. So yeah, I'm curious to see, and I think we had a little bit of like some misdirection with a couple of different characters who say they have the answer to where he is, but we'll see, man. Let's just go ahead and get into it, though. If y'all enjoy the reaction, drop a like for me and comment all the good stuff. Or if you want unedited access, go ahead and check out the Patreon. You know, full access to the episode there. And yeah, would love to have y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this one. Good man. That's
岩手
grim.
県盛岡市で2016年児とその母親計2人の盛岡地検は近くに住む大江圭と強盗殺人の容疑で起訴し逮捕までの経緯はこうだ。大江は巡回中の警官からの職務質問中に逃亡し自宅に駆け込んだ。追いかけてきた警官が血のついた刃物を発見。現行犯逮捕だ。後の DNA 鑑定で DNA が一致している。
You're cooked, bro.
大江は一貫して犯行を証拠となった刃物に関して拾ったんです。俺のじゃない。
それは無理があるでしょう。だって後ろめたかったから職質拒否。
彼は昔知人が薬物を使用していたことが原因で不当な聴取を受けたことですか。
I mean, no one loves talking to the police, man. So many reasons someone would run.
届けるつもりだったそうだ。
後でって。
言い分すべてに無理が。しかし大江の見込みで働いている NPO 法人テック。
NPO 法人。
高齢者に対するシェルター運営やそこで仕事として彼らの世話をしていた。彼に給料は支払う。お小遣いと称してお年玉を持つ支給のみだ。
Sheesh.
にもか月5万円を家賃としてちょう。
How did they manage to do that?
前科のあるものも少なくないそうだ。凶器の提出が遅れてしまった理由だ。じゃダメな決まりなんです。パトカーや近所の人の迷惑になるから。
That's kind of a bad rule. Yeah, shady indeed.
ただでさえこっちは震災復興資金が流れる実態の怪しい NPO 法人が増え狂気が落ちていても意外上の可能性は十二分。まずは団体の活動実績と税務申告。これはとことん
This guy seems like a good detective.
清水は
Meanwhile, this girl, I'm not so sure.
猫飼えるか。
国選なんてギャラ安いくせに世論は有罪一色。殺人じゃ執行猶予もないしやるだけ損でしょ。
It's called justice. HIGURUMA. Is that who we're looking for?
楽な仕事ばかりじゃ売れない。
Probably should have looked back at my notes to remind myself.
ないじゃん。ないじゃん。
思ったことがそのままで。
相変わらずってわけだ。ボス弁がお金に興味ないと大変だよ。
さんみたいに副業で喫茶店やれらずって日車さんって昔から。
いいや。むしろ昔よりひどくな。彼がうちにいたとこ担当したんだけど、飲酒運転ね。
Man, I really love all the like various people walking around. It looks so natural.
人たちに強要されたもの。関係者に口裏合わせられて示談金も用意。
嘘つきになるって言ったじゃないか。
なんとか執行猶予作るなんて言ってないのにね。これで懲りたでしょ。無理筋の刑事弁護なんてやめない。弱者級の理解もなしに私たちだけに逆恨みされてまで続ける。
I mean, if you care to do it either way.
的にも精神的に当たるのも無理。
See what this guy, dude, grounded. A lawyer with morality. Pretty rare, huh?
私は
Yeah, he does look like he's kind of like cracked out a bit. Like, he looks a little stressed. The eyes. Dude, there's something really cool about this art design in this episode. Very like realistic kind of feeling. Oh, they won?
まだだ。 すぐ控訴してくる。
今後は検察側の
物が大江さんの部屋に見当たらなかった犯行直後から行方不明になっているとは、遺体から想定した犯行時刻に映ってるのが大きかったですね。しない人でよかった。
ヒグルマ先生、本当にありがとうござい
それに気が早い。まだ2週
なくて、俺を信じてくれて
Yeah, it's almost more important when everyone's like so skeptical of you. Guilty life sentence, bro.
限られた予算と人数で動かなければならない弁護側に対し、検察は税金、それはいい。そういう仕組みだ。だが、で検察側から新規の証拠は提出、不明者の犯行と疑う理由はないと判決が覆った。三審の最高裁は証拠はほぼ門前されることすら難しい。裁判は初めから言う。
It's not the way it's supposed to work.
なぜ私をその目で見る。
君の心はどうなる？ヒグルマ君。
私は弱者救済など掲げたから自分がおかしいと感じたことを放ってが治っていないだけです。正義の女神は法の下の平等のために目を塞ぎ、人々は欲しそう。そんな中、開けていたい。
Interesting.
判決に不服がある場合は、本日を含めて15日以内に
全員戻れ。
What the heck is that?
やり直しだ。
Okay, it's definitely him.
ヒグルマは新宿
Okay, yeah. So was he a sorcerer that whole time, or is he someone awakened from the calling games?
ちょっと遅くない？いつになったらあの子は次のカモを連れてきてくれるのかな。
So there's the freaking girl. What I say for? I don't remember my. I made a guess on which one would be more trustworthy. I think I said the girl because it's too obvious that she'd be the bad one.
全然なってね。なんすか。何黙ってんだよ。ヘラヘラ笑ってりゃいいんだよ。ああ、言わんこっちゃね。なんでわかんねえんだよ。バカな。プライドだけは高いんだ。その辺傷つけねえようにの連中に的にされることしい思いもできる。やめろよ。バカがもう一人。学ランに厨房かよ。目口だったな。
Let's see, usually beat his ass. Oh, I love it, dude. What a satisfying punch. Wow, picking up a freaking rod. Yeah, you kind of need that. No violence! Let me try to bust your head open. Oh. I love it. Well done. Yeah, you didn't help.
何？
新宿に向かうつもりならやめろ。プレイヤーとの遭遇率が。
理由は2つ。
Don't trust this
道が
bitch.
分かりやすい。近くに私のシャワーくらい浴びさせて。昨日からろくに休み。
ヒグルマはここの劇場を拠点にしてなければだけど。おお、マジで助かった。ありがとう。待てって。何？マジで行くのか。仲間と交流したいところだけど。俺はヒグルマに会ったことない。一度コテンパンにやられたんだ。じゃあ大丈夫。勝った俺も逃げるくらいはそんじゃな。
I mean, if he beat the guy to the propeller guy to a pulp, then at least let him go. So he must be dangerous then.
ヒグルマ、俺はレジーだ。騙されたの。
その顔、全然怖くないんだ。言っとくけどレジー。
喋るな。時間の無駄だ。
Come on, man. I trust Megumi, man. He'll take him on.
誰だ？そこで何をしている？
あんたこそ
服を着て風呂に入ったことがあるか？
ないな。
You have to be down pretty bad.
思っていた。 気持ちがいい。小学校の頃家の授業が好きだった。いろいろどうでもやってはいけないことにチャレンジしている。
He's got free will after all.
しまったわけだ。腹が
ちょっとあんたヒグルマだ。
いかにも
話がしたい。
待て待て。は弁護士だと話すと30分合するぞ。冗談だ。見たくてな。
そっか。きからこいつさ100点持ってるよ。受肉したか開花した現代の術師だ。話が交渉の余地がある。
いや合格後分かったから相当だ。君強い。わけりゃかもって殺していいよ君。
何それ。
どういう罪について
Quite a bit.
儀式だろ。外内のプレイヤーたちの呪力を利用し日本の人間を彼岸には人ならざる者へ変えるためせておくか。
何君賢者と知り合い？
いるとは思っていた。と関わりのある術師。俺たちはタマ終わらせるってよりはためのルール追加にヒグルマの
端的に言う断る。
もう冗談か。
いや俺はただ締め付けいる。時に法は無力だ。だが締め付か力が本物ならばルールも本物なんだろう。
今君が言ったプレイヤ
He's
ーの
fed up of the law system.
より2番手3番手のプレイヤーの数、プレイヤーの字、約1000人のプレイヤーが人だ。だがプレイヤー術師のこの2人だけですでに60人。似たような
Damn, so he's killed a lot of people.
コロニーに1人はいるだろう。
死滅回遊が膠着するいた。結界内が静かす。
すでにさ、少なくともここ東京第一
What is this get up he's got
コ
on?
ロニーに侵入した際の点知らす目的もあるんだろうが、一番は現代人術師で死ぬやつもいる。本当にプレイヤーの呪力を利用しより長くダラダラと戦ってほしい。
必要ない。真偽を争うこともな。物理法則のように罰せられたら素晴らしいことだ。回遊の土台のシス
He sees a more lawful world this way.
特にルール2と8の見届けたい。
ルール的にも剥奪されると死ぬ。
体が儀式だ。もたもたしてるとこの国の人間。
惰性だな。死滅回遊は永続を歌う。
俺もよくわかってない。
It's the wrong person for usually be trying to argue
言い
with.
方を変える。100点を使わせろ。ヒグルマ。
He's gonna fight him?
気に入らないやつをぶち殺した。思っていたより気持ちがいい。
ヒグルマは100点俺だ。術師を20人殺して無
Yeah.
役には飛び込めない。勝てる。
領域展開十分。
Domain expansion. The guillotine. So he domain expansion that whole courtroom, bro, didn't he? That's how.
永続のような建前は本当の計画の当社だけが残った回遊に賢者死滅回遊は役割を負う。
Inviting him. Huh. So does he have people like working with him or that like want this too? A lot to go through in the episode, man. I'll have to go back and kind of reshoot through some of that dialogue because I definitely missed a few things at the end there. But I really like the kind of the backstory, the context of the lawyer. I'm not gonna say his name again because I'm gonna keep butchering it, at least for now. Maybe I'll practice, but I'll call him H-Man, H-Lawyer Man. Yeah, I like the background of, you know, him trying to do good as a lawyer and not just this, you kind of defend people who are assumed to be guilty. So, yeah, that beginning statistic, was it 99.9% of people in Japan are proved of criminal trials and in a guilty verdict? Is that true? Like in real life? Like that'd be insane. Like that in itself tells you that the system's probably not fair for people who are accused of crimes. I mean, in this case, the person he was trying to defend was, it definitely looked bad for him, but I liked how he was like open to hearing them and like, you could see how much the guy appreciated believing him, although just to turn and give him such a hateful look after he lost. So pretty interesting though. And I thought the design or the production of the backstory of him felt very interesting. Like it felt almost like maybe slice of life isn't the right word, but it felt very like natural, like you were in the courtroom or in, talking to the client. It just felt very real. Like the realism in this episode added a lot to it, and the backstory especially. Alrighty, y'all, let's go ahead and get in the review section here. We'll just start with the character names and kind of talk as we go. For MVP, a little bit of a hard one to give it to, but I'm going to give it to Yuji. Yeah, there's not really a ton to say around maybe the importance of him, but I really like the scene of him coming and fighting the bullies and seeing his old schoolmate or classmate. I forgot that guy's name, but kind of seeing how he almost represents what Higuruma was talking about. And I know I'm mispronouncing, but I'm going to try my best with it. Higuruma, you know, what he was kind of talking about with the justice system, about how the goddess of justice is blindfolded to, you know, maintain fairness under the law. But then in turn, there's a lot of people who turn a blind eye to all kinds of things to protect themselves. And kind of like little bit of a paradoxical statement. But I think he usually represents somebody who doesn't turn a blind eye, right? He's somebody who, unlike his schoolmate and the schoolmate who's helping him in the present moment find Higuruma, he's somebody who seems to have always turned a blind eye. He's always protected himself, you know, maybe put on a show, laughed with these bullies so that he wouldn't hurt their pride to kind of protect himself, versus doing maybe what he really believes or what is right. And Yuji is kind of the antithesis of that. He's somebody who won't turn the blind eye, kind of like Higuruma wouldn't turn the blind eye to these, you know, people who have been potentially wrongfully accused. In this case, Oi, you know, definitely seems to be wrongfully accused, although he really looked guilty, that's for sure. But, you know, I think Yuji and Higuruma are really interesting together. Like, I'm really excited to see how Higuruma's domain expansion will work. Hopefully we get that in the next episode, because, you know, you can see that with the gavel that he has and the courtroom, and like, you know, the kind of the weights balancing out, like the goddess of justice, it seems like is kind of part of his awakened ability here. So I'm curious, like, if it will like judge Yuji, and if Yuji will, like, you know, if he'll be able to recognize that Yuji has a lot of like fairness in his soul and compassion and empathy for people, kind of like Higuruma actually has. Really, really cool to think about there. For the best moment, I'm gonna give it to Higuruma, and really just the backstory. You know, I think the present day stuff is really interesting, and like, you know, kind of moving forward the Culling games and seeing how Higuruma is like now, but I really liked his backstory. I thought the production of it was especially well done. You know how I talked about how it kind of felt like I was part of it, you know, kind of felt like you were a fly on the wall observing it, and there were so many natural movements. It felt really like the scene with Yuji and Hakari talking, and kind of like, you know, the movement's so fluid. I'm pretty sure I saw something that like there's a certain technique they use for that, like where it's actual people and they're tracing their movements and they can, like, you know, make it so much more smooth. Seems like that was used a lot here, especially when that scene with Higuruma and his assistant kind of talking in their law office, and she's like spinning around in her chair, and it just looks so good. So I thought the production was great. I just like his character. I think he's really interesting because I think he's somebody who wants to do good in the world, has, you know, a moral compass, and yet ends up kind of losing it at the end because of how broken the system is. A broken system will break down even the most faithful or compassionate people. Yeah, you can see it in his eyes, right? Really sad, but also a stark reality of what life is like. There's corruption, there's imperfect systems, there's large systems that maybe can be unjust, or, you know, just have so many barriers to hop through to actually, you know, bring out fairness or equality, equity for people. And it's contrasted against the Culling games, and Higuruma really likes the idea of, you know, a power, like a system that actually has power, clear cut and dry power, not all these, you know, games and prosecutions and juries and judges that all maybe could have biases or are corrupt or whatever it might be, right? And even puts aside people like the common person's biases, right? Like you see after Oi wins the first trial, how the public responds by being like, oh, you know, even money can buy all these, you know, this guy's a murderer, right? Just assuming things. And he loves the idea how the Culling games is just like this power system that can judge people. You know, he wants to use this kind of system at play and see if he can maybe add more rules to it, sounds like, to judge the guilty or free the innocent of their potential punishments, or I guess of being accused of their accusations. For the funniest character, I'm gonna give that to Higuruma's assistant or associate. She's obviously a lawyer too, so maybe I should call her an associate. I just thought she was pretty funny going along the way. And she definitely serves as like an anchor of like maybe what an average lawyer might be like, kind of being like, this isn't worth all the effort. I'm not getting paid as much. She doesn't seem like a sleazy lawyer by any means, but she definitely is kind of there to challenge Higuruma a little bit in his, you know, his kind of rationale, like why he's going after why he's protecting people who are going to be difficult to defend, even if he might think that they're innocent. You know, it probably happens a lot in real life, is like defense attorneys who maybe actually do believe their client is innocent or their potential client, but they're like, it's too hard of a case to prove, I'm just going to drop it, instead of maybe taking some greater meaning out of their morality or moral compass, you know. And for the Sako, not any like clear Sakos, I guess I'll give it to Remy, obviously, because she deceived Megumi, which kind of brings up some interesting stuff about Reggie. We meet Reggie, I guess kind of like her leader or boss. Seems like an interesting dude, but he kind of has a theory that the Culling Games is like a different intention, or like Kenjaku has a different intention, which is to really weed out weak sorcerers. So, you know, all of these different colonies, you know, there's going to be people like Higuruma and the ancient sorcerer that's killed a lot of people, and they're just going to be so skewed, and so all the weaker players are just going to get killed off super easily. So it doesn't really make sense that there's such a wide parity in the power of these sorcerers, because if, you know, Megumi's theory is right, or I guess if Tengen's theory is correct, then Kenjaku would want all these sorcerers fighting as long as possible to use that cursed energy to, you know, fulfill the ritual, right? So I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Now I don't really know how to feel if this is like supposed to be hints for the audience to be like, okay, yeah, like there's something going on behind the scenes. What Tengen's exposition about the Culling Games isn't all there is to it, and I'd imagine that's probably going to be the case. There's probably more to it, but I don't know if this is exactly the goal, but I do think it's a little interesting that this might be a little misdirection in here as we go. But yeah, y'all, I think that'll do for this reaction and review. I think that we'll leave it there. Definitely most looking forward to seeing what the domain expansion, like what the rules will be in. Like, I like that it's like all justice themed and like the law system and everything. Yeah, dude, it should be pretty interesting. And I feel like Yuji's a good person to be judged. You know, he's, like I said, he's so similar to Higuruma, and honestly, even just like the whole, you know, cog in the system, like narrative that we got, or theme that we got a couple episodes ago from Yuji. You know, it's almost like he's accepted the reality of his place in the world, where Higuruma kind of fell victim to, or not victim, but, you know, he became nihilistic from it, you know. So almost like two extremely similar characters, but taken two different paths in the way that they have kind of dealt with the pain of the system's failures for them or to society as a whole. So really interesting, y'all. I hope you all enjoy this reaction, and I'll catch you for episode 9 hopefully next week. Hopefully we don't have another break. So, but yeah, y'all, hope you have a good day. Catch you later. Peace.